You have to build your AEO strategy. Okay, this is new, and this is big. AEO stands for AI Engine Optimization, also called Answer Engine Optimization. And here's the simplest definition. AEO is how you increase your company's visibility in the answers AI delivers. Breathe. How do you do all of this? This is the new growth playbook. Human authenticity with AI's efficiency. Yeah. Now, let me break it down. What it is, how it works, and how it can drive your growth. Now, you start by expressing who you are before you create any content. Look, AI can generate content in a matter of seconds, of course. But if it does not have a clear point of view, that content will be bland, off base, otherwise known as spam. And that is exactly what you get when you give AI a directionless prompt. You know, it is like typing restaurant into your GPS and driving to the very first restaurant it suggests. Now, a better prompt would have taken you to the best Indian restaurant in San Francisco, which, by the way, is Copra. You gotta check it out. Yeah! And instead, you will land in Bob's House of Spinach. Not where you wanna be. This is why Express matters so much. It makes AI work for you, not the other way around. So how do you express? Well, you start by defining your ideal customer profile. You gotta get really specific. Their tastes, their goals, their challenges, their intent. And then you define your voice and your tone. You gotta create a style guide and the brand guide that AI can work with. And then you test your content. Does it sound like you? Does it actually resonate with the audience that you're trying to reach? Now, many of you here already know how to build an ideal customer profile. You've been doing it for many years. So the question is, how do you define your voice? How do you stand out? Let me give you a personal example. So I use AI every day, every hour, to write board memos, strategy updates, even this keynote. Now, the number of M dashes on this thing was just out of control. But I never start with AI. I start with my voice and my tone and my thoughts. So I've created a style guide that represents who I am that I give to AI. And it goes like this. Be clear. I'm direct. Ask anybody who has been on a Zoom meeting with me. Be curious. I ask a lot of questions. So I'm not going to write like I have all the answers. And then here's a difficult one for LLM. Be human. Write like a real person. No jargon, please. In fact, my team created a Yamini jargon detector to catch all of the buzzwords before I see them. And then be concise. No fluff. And certainly no M dashes for me. Now, this is the guide and the foundation of everything that I create with AI. I'm not letting AI replace my voice. I'm using it to reach more people. And that is exactly what our best customers are doing as well. So let's hear from Morehouse College on how they're doing this.
Morehouse is really steeped in this idea and concept of brotherhood. So it's really important that as we're creating content using AI, that our brand is expressed as a part of that creation. HubSpot made it really easy for us to, scale our efforts in content creation without losing our brand voice. We were able to upload our brand guidelines. So when it's suggesting changes, it knows our fonts, it knows our hex codes, but also we included our brand voice document, which explains when you're talking about different things, how is the voice? Is it supposed to be warm, but also authoritative? Is it supposed to be educated, but also attainable? So it puts warmth to this machine that's generating this content. It comes out immediately with our brand voice in mind, speaking to our right audience, and that saves us so much time. We saw like a 30% increase in page views. We also saw like a 27% increase in the time people were spending on site. I mean, those are things that actually move the needle and increase conversions. We're helping our team be more efficient and we're helping our audiences be happy.
Yeah. Now, Morehouse College did an incredible job of defining their brand. And that is exactly the place to start. When you express who you are, you unlock two big wins. Your content speed goes up and your content cost goes down. And that is exactly what we want for all of our customers. So to recap, the very first step in the new growth playbook starts with something deeply human. Taste, clarity, voice. No LLMs can replace those things because AI needs a point of view, and that is the point of view. Okay, now that you have expressed who you are, the next step is to tailor the message to your customers. And Tailor is all about making that message feel personal, not just personalized. Now, remember the 90s? Well, if you recognize the picture of George Costanza earlier, then you probably do. Back then, Dear Yamini in an email was enough to get my attention. Whoa, they know my name. But now, knowing your name or your title, it's just not impressive. It's noise. But AI changes that game. It lets you treat every single customer like a segment of one and maps their intent to the information that they need to see. So here's the big unlock with AI. It is one-to-one relevance, delivered at scale. So how do you tailor? Well, you got to start with data. You have to enrich your data with all of the intent signals. Did your customer check out your pricing page or a competitor? Or they open up a support ticket? All of those are intent signals that tell you what your customer is thinking about right now. Then you have to craft hyper-targeted messages with AI. So if your customer did check out your pricing page 3 times, then AI should send a follow-up message. Still comparing options? Here's a nice breakdown of the pricing plans, a nice little nudge. And then through all of it, you stay in the loop and validate the message, because nobody knows your product and your message better than you do. Okay, the thing is, if you do all of this, you get higher engagement with your content. Every marketeer's dream here, and it's working for HubSpot, and it's working for our customers. So let's hear from Kelly Services on how they're doing this.
Just blasting out an email to your entire database with the same message and expecting results. Buyers are more sophisticated than that. They also are inundated with so much information. You have to speak intimately to your audiences. HubSpot allows us to deliver one-to-one experiences to our customers. As an example, when we're launching a campaign, we might create a dynamic landing page that doesn't just speak to the pain point of one audience, but various audiences. And we can also consider other things like what the audience has done in the past, what language they speak, how far along they are in their buyer's journey to truly present what feels like a one-to-one tailored message, but it's done in a scalable way. We're also able to engage our audiences in a deeper way. We're seeing higher engagement numbers, and at one point we were even seeing a 60% increase in conversions.
Yeah. 60% engagement, anybody? You can have great content, but if you're not where your customers are, it does not matter. That brings us to Amplify, the heart of the new growth playbook. Amplify is about how you diversify channels to engage your customers where they are. If you take just one thing from this entire keynote, it should be this part of the loop, because this is how you drive growth in the AI era. 2 big shifts have changed everything that we know about marketing. The first is where your customers are spending time. They are where you are. They're scrolling on social, they're listening to podcasts from creators that they trust, and they are reading email newsletters. That thing is cool again. But guess the one place they're not spending as much time? Your AI overviews have made sure of that. That's the first big shift. And the second is how they find answers. Your customers are not searching for information anymore. They're asking questions. They're asking people in Reddit's communities and in live events like this. And they're asking AI, because nobody wants 10 blue links. They want one trusted answer. Now you put these 2 big shifts together, and here's the reality. It's never been harder for companies to be found. This is why marketing subreddits right now are a very dark place. I get it. What do? Well, you have to rethink how you reach your customers. Your customers are still out there, and you still need search. Because even though your customers are not digging through all of your content, LLMs are reading your refreshed content. That is why great content matters, maybe more than ever. And then you gotta be strategic on social. You have to show up where your customers are with great video, audio, and text content that really engages them. And then for LLMs, you have to build your AEO strategy. Okay, this is new, and this is big. AEO stands for AI Engine Optimization, also called Answer Engine Optimization. And here's the simplest definition. AEO is how you increase your company's visibility in the answers AI delivers. Breathe. How do you do all of this? Well, let me take you behind the scenes and show you how we're doing this at HubSpot to power our growth. And let me start with something that is not growing. Our blog traffic. Yep. All of these articles, everybody sent them to me. Even my mom, who doesn't read blogs. Yeah, blog traffic is down. But that is half of the story. Here's the other exciting part of the story. Back in 2022, even before AI overviews became a thing, we noticed that our customers were spending less time on our blogs and more time on social, on newsletters and podcasts. So we made big, bold bets to diversify. We invested in a podcast network. We invested in newsletters. We launched 10 YouTube channels. We grew our presence in Insta and LinkedIn. Yep, that's why Dharmesh is always on LinkedIn. Yeah, you find him there. And you know what? It worked. Our leads from YouTube are up 100% year over year. And leads from newsletters are up 90% year over year. And guess the one thing that is common across all of these new channels? They are people-driven. Personality, connection, credibility. That is how you engage your customers today. And when we did all of that, our demand mix, it shifted dramatically. Yes, the leads from our blogs and web are down, but the leads from people-driven sources like YouTube, podcasts, newsletters, more than doubled. We did not chase clicks. We built trust. We showed up where our customers are, and we engaged them there. And the results? They just speak for themselves. Diversification works, and it drives growth. But here's the one other channel that you need to diversify into, which is LLMs. And doing AEO is quite different from doing SEO. You know, SEO is all about ranking. You just have to show up in the top 5 links. AEO is about being part of the answer. In SEO, you use keywords, backlinks, meta tags in order to rank. And in AEO, you use stats, quotations, content from high authority sources. SEO is all about reputation. AEO is about reputation of the sources, but also repetition of your content across multiple high authority sources. And SEO, volume was the goal. In AEO, conversion is the game. And this is why we've made AEO a top priority within HubSpot. And even though it's really early days, the results are really promising. We are number 1 in AI visibility within our category. Leads from LLMs are up significantly, and they convert 3 times better. Okay, this is really important for all of us to understand. When people ask LLM questions, they are deep in research, and they're asking specific questions. Their intent is high, and they're ready to act. And if you can catch them in that moment, you're already ahead. And companies that figure this out will grow better with AI. All right, you have expressed who you are. You've tailored the message to your customers. You've amplified it across multiple channels. There's just one last step, which is evolve. And this is about how you iterate, learn fast, and act faster. You know, before AI, all these campaigns, they were like big cruise ships. Slow, inflexible, hard to steer. Now with AI, they're like jet skis. Fun, breezy, actually fun to steer. And that's what you need to do in this stage. So in order to evolve, you got to know what to measure and optimize it. And then you have to use AI to sharpen the strategy and the outcomes. That's it. So what do you know? What do you measure? And how do you know that you're doing this full loop well? Well, here's a scorecard. It has a number of metrics that you already measure and some new metrics that you need to track. First, in terms of Express, you measure efficiency. Your content speed has to go up. Your content cost has to go down. And within Tailor, you measure engagement. Are your customers actually connecting with the content and engaging with it? And then with Amplify, you measure conversion. Plus a few new metrics here. AI visibility, AI share of voice, number of citations. These are the new measures that tell you how you're showing up in AEO. And then within Evolve, you measure velocity. And when you do all of this, your marketing is going to fly. Now, here's the thing with the entire loop. It never ends. And that's because with AI, you don't win by launching. You Win by learning. That is what is different about the loop. And this is exactly what our marketing team has put together. I got to give these innovators in marketing a huge round of applause and a shout out. Thank you. They have been iterating, experimenting, and using this playbook to power our growth. So if you're sitting here thinking, okay, how do I get started? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can keep your phones up and go to this QR code website where we have a complete breakdown, a step-by-step guide on how you get started, what you do next, and how we can be helpful. Here's the thing. There's just been a lot of talk lately about AI chaos and search disruption, but here's my hot take. Marketing in the last few years have felt very incremental. A/B test this, adjust that. Not great, not fun. Now, what is ahead is smarter, faster, and more human, and just a whole lot more fun. So let's bring that fun back into marketing again, and let's rewire how we grow with AI. Right? Yeah, and we are totally on this journey with you. Now, at the beginning of this conversation, we started with some deeply human questions. The answers are coming into focus. What's our role? What is AI's? Our role is to lead with taste, strategy, and judgment. And AI's role is to accelerate with speed, scale, and execution. Humans lead, AI accelerates. That is the partnership. It is not just powerful, it is transformative. And that brings us to the second question that is on top of mind for almost everybody here. What is our job going to look like in 3 years? And our teams? Well, the future of work is hybrid. Humans and AI, working side by side, doing what we do best. AI will become our coworker, not just a tool, but an intelligent teammate. It will learn, it will scale, and it will get work done on our behalf. And that means our roles will evolve. We will see the rise of AI ops, the super orchestrators. They are the go-to-market engineers. They will fine-tune, train, and optimize AI for our business. Just like RevOps powered the last decade, AI ops will power the next decade. And then we will also see the rise of super contributors, people who use AI to 10x their output. The marketer who used to create one asset, now creating an entire campaign. The sales rep calling more people in one day than others do in a week. They will drive growth by being fast, AI fluent, and innovative. And that brings us to one last question. What do we tell our kids today so they're ready for the futures tomorrow? Now, here's what I told our son moments before that tough goodbye on college campus. Be curious. Ask a lot of questions. Lean into change. Don't fear it. And learn how to think. The whole idea that AI will replace humans, it just misses something essential. What is exciting is not what AI can do alone. It is what we can do together. And if we can understand it and embrace it, then we won't just keep up with AI. We will keep growing with AI. And we all will stay firmly in the loop.